morning, thank you for coming, and thank you, Susan, for organising this panel. I actually, in the next few minutes, want to tell you what the International Centre for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology actually does in a very broad sense. ICGEB was initially started as a program underneath the banner of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, and subsequently became an autonomous intergovernmental organization. If any of you are familiar with the UN logo, you can see that ours resembles it, but rather than have a polar projection of the world map, our world map highlights the developing world, and that's because the mandate of ICGEB is to provide an educational and scientific environment of really high quality, and we do this through innovative research to benefit the developing world. ICGEB is basically owned by its member states, which can be seen here in the world map in green. The countries in yellow are actually the signatory countries. You can see that we cover most of the world's land surface, but none of that where the money actually resides. We're made up from 3 centres, one in Trieste in Italy, one in New Delhi in India, and one in Cape Town. These centres employ a significant number of scientists in several different research groups and cover a very varied number of disciplines, which I'll come on to in a minute. But what I want to show you in this slide here is basically how ICGEB tries and enhances the research capabilities of its member countries. Scientists from the member states come to work or to be trained or spend a short period of time in either of our 3 components. To facilitate this, ICGEB provides fellowships, both long-term and short-term fellowships. We also run an international PhD program. The trained scientists then, in theory, should go back to their country to facilitate and pass on the skills and knowledge that they've learned at the ICGEB components. And to facilitate this, we also provide research grants for them for work that's implicated in their actual country. We also perform a series of workshops and courses, either at the components or in the member states, with the obvious advantages. For scientists from those particular regions, the courses are actually free of charge, so they only have to pay travel. And lastly, we also perform technology transfer, and I'll come to that in the next slide. So the areas where ICGEB trains the scientists are quite varied and can be briefly divided into biomedicine, crop improvement, biosafety, and risk assessment. Although our research isn't actually geared towards commercially viable results, due to the large number of scientists working in the 3 components, these 2 come along, and ICGEB patents them as a way of fostering innovation for the member states. If anyone is interested, short films can be downloaded from the ICGEB websites with the inventor explaining the patent and its practical applications. So, on to what I actually do, the technology transfer, and in particular that occurs in the biotechnology group at ICGEB Trieste. When the unit was formed, recombinant drugs were basically unaffordable to the majority of people in this world, and indeed they still are today. And where they are available, they represent a significant burden in the health systems on those governments. And so we decided to focus on a way to try and facilitate the production of recombinant drugs in these countries at affordable prices. We did this. We sat down and we thought, in what way could we actually contribute towards that? And we thought there was a need for training and know-how in the production of recombinant drugs. And so we concentrated on developing innovative technologies for a series of these: EPO, IFN, alpha-2A2B, GCSF, interferon beta, and insulin. We're continuously developing the up and downstream technologies of these. We're also investigating and developing chemical modifications and so formulations of these products. The actual transfer that we performed occurs through an understanding between the pharmaceutical companies in the member countries and an ICGEB, where their employees them spend a month or two in our laboratories. They're trained in the handling of recombinant strains and in the downstream processing and quality control, which we perform according to European Pharmacopoeia. And then they go back to their country and set up the lab or pilot scales production of these recombinants. We also visit their countries and help out with any tubing problems. And the need for such a venture has been highlighted by the large success of the unit, because since it was founded around just over 10 years ago, the unit in Trieste has signed over, well, close to 50 collaboration agreements. We've trained over 70 scientists that have spent a total of nearly 5 years in our laboratories being trained. And these scientists come from 19 different countries that are highlighted in green in this world map. And what makes us extremely proud is that some of these countries have actually managed to arrive to their local market with the product, places such as India, Emirates, Argentina, Venezuela and Cuba, and we like to think that we actually played a role at the start of this process. And that basically concludes what I wanted to say, so thank you for your attention, and now I'll pass the floor to someone that has already been mentioned was essential in the formation of